Okay, so let's face the hard truth. Real estate agents don't have the best reputation. As someone passionate about my profession, I grapple with that stigma even in casual introductions. The recent verdict on the Sitzer Burnett trial found that the National Association of Realtors, Home Services of America, and Keller Williams were guilty of conspiring to inflate commissions. This has sent shockwaves through our industry. Before this verdict, the industry had actually already been adapting, with many MLSs nationwide allowing listings to offer zero commission to cooperating agents to be listed on their exchanges. Ultimately, with the looming appeal, we are likely years out from seeing a resolution on this topic. This verdict has huge implications. It opens up the door to other big-name brokerages being sued, the DOJ reviving their antitrust probe, which was halted back in June, and it begs the question, will this put additional pressure on the already taxed mortgage industry in the event buyers need to start wrapping up the cost of their agent commissions into their loans? Could this also lead to a market-wide price correction? Typically, home values account for a seller-paid commission. But if buyers must absorb this cost, it might prompt a reevaluation of home prices. Buyer's agency was ultimately evolved to protect consumers. It became more widespread in the 90s and early 2000s, moving away from the days when buyers had no representation and dealt with a sub-agent of the seller. Seems to be a conflict of interest. Do I believe big brokerages and the National Association of Realtors were conspiring to inflate commissions? Not necessarily. Do I see why this is becoming a conversation? Absolutely. I think part of it has to do with shady real estate dealings. Not all real estate agents are good at their jobs. I also think enough time has passed since buyer's agency kind of transitioned into the standard practice that people aren't seeing why it was put into effect and what it has created in the open marketplace. My personal opinion is that commission sharing has created a strong real estate market. It helps prices continue to trend upward over the long haul. More buyers are able to be in the marketplace based on these practices, which creates more demand and in turn drives values up. It also protects consumers on either side because there's representation for the buyer and the seller. That's my hot take on the matter. Now, let me give you a real-life example. Earlier this year, I had buyers that I had been working with for about 8 months. They were in a very competitive price bracket, and unfortunately we lost out on about 6 properties due to their offers being contingent on the sale of their home. Finally, we got their house under contract, and they sent me a property in Mancos that was for sale by owner, or FSBO. So I try to work my magic, and I call this FSBO. I get to negotiating a buyer's commission, and the seller was lovely. She seemed to really enjoy speaking with me. However, ultimately she said no. I let my clients know that they unfortunately aren't willing to offer a buyer's commission and that they would either have to pay my fee or go direct to the seller or hire an attorney to assist in their representation. My clients did not have the money to pay my fee, but they also did not want to move forward without representation due to being burned in the past by a bad real estate agent and a shady seller. And just so we're on the same page here, I have been working with these clients, technically speaking, for free. I have not made a dime off of the 8 months working with them, viewing dozens of properties and submitting multiple offers. I only mention this because I've noticed it is kind of a question sometimes from a lot of consumers. How do you real estate agents get paid? And there's different levels. Some people have different systems in their office. While I would have loved to represent my clients for free and get them this house, that's just not a solid business strategy. Here's the interesting piece. The seller had pulled my clients aside while we were reviewing the property and offered them personally a $10,000 credit or reduction to the value. We convened afterwards and decided to offer the full price, which was $410,000, if the seller was willing to offer the $10,000 credit as a buyer's commission. The seller refused, and she said the $10,000 were for repairs on the house. So this was back in July of 2023. The home had been sitting on the market for about 6 weeks and received a full price cash offer. The sellers declined it because they didn't want to pay my under 3% buyer's commission. And in fact, they didn't want to pay a commission at all. I did try to negotiate anything, but it was just not what she was open to. Do you know why this seller did not want to offer a commission or work with an agent to list their house? It's because she'd been burned in the past by a bad real estate agent. She told me that when I called her. About a week after this took place, the price of the property dropped to $399,000, and it continued to sit on the market for another 6 weeks. Right now, that property is still pending on Zillow, so I'm not sure what it will sell for. Had they taken our offer, they would have had cash in hand and moved out months ago. This story underscores 2 points. Many buyers are financially unprepared for uncooperative FSBO situations, relying on industry norms that shield them from direct commission costs. My clients had to learn the hard way that some FSBOs simply will not cooperate. And I'm certainly not judging FSBOs. Individuals, families, and companies with considerable experience in real estate transactions may not want to use a realtor. Heck, they may even have a lawyer on retainer to handle the transaction for them. There's no requirement to hire a real estate agent to buy or sell real estate. My second point is that sellers who may choose to go FSBO to avoid past negative experiences with agents could inadvertently suffer from a lack of professional guidance, potentially missing out on better offers and strategic market positioning. In my opinion, from viewing the property, had they hired a real estate agent to advise them on the steps they need to prep the home for market, like me, they'd probably have netted that $410,000 they were hoping for. Ultimately, the story is far from over. I'll continue to update you as new information hits the pipeline, but until then, have a great week.